Well, this is what I want our stage to look like for this year. Having a plan on paper like this is crucial, but the real fun is making this plan a reality. This idea came together from 2 other stage designs I was putting together, sitting in bed one night working on only the finest stage design software, Keynote. Yeah, I actually used Keynote to design this. The idea is simple, but it meant using more LED strips than I'd ever used in the past. I knew if we were going to go with this type of design that we would need to use better gear, so better LED strips and better decoders for sure. After about 10 minutes of research on Amazon, I found these LED strips, which are incredible, and they're called the let me read this to you. The Vizdol, I don't know, 5050 RGBW 4-in-1 LED strip. A little bit of a mouthful there. Links below so you can go check them out yourself. The substrate is black, giving it a more polished and professional look up close. You're not really going to look at them up close, but if you do, you'll enjoy that much better. And from far away, it's not just some white line. You can like barely see them at all when they're off. The LEDs themselves are insanely bright to be so small. These are far better than what we used before. What we had before was only an RGB, and it had that little coating on the top, and it gets yellow and ugly over time. Don't use those anymore. I know I've talked about them before, but use these new strips. The black or white, it doesn't matter. These are way better, especially being RGBW. So check them out. The decoders we use are a 32 channel RGBW DMX 512 decoder on Amazon. That's like literally the name of them on Amazon. I think they tried to use every lighting term possible just so you would find this decoder. I know they say 32 channel, but for people like me and you, really these run 8 LED strips flawlessly on DMX. I have it set up as an 8-bit, so when you get your decoder, you'll have to physically change that to an 8-bit in the thing. And then, sorry, I'm extremely detailed right now. You'll have to change it to an 8-bit so that way it reads it properly so you can run it as 8 RGBW LED strips. They tie in seamlessly with our other fixtures on our DMX software. Right now we are using the MPC software with the M2PC board. This is a dated software that is already discontinued, but it's what we have right now, and we're going to keep using it until it just dies. Also, I did see that they have an update to the software that might work with our board, so I'm going to be playing around with that in the future. But I patched them as an 8-channel RGBW, which gives me control of all the colors on the tape, including the white, of course. As for the exact design structure, we chose to hang and offset vertical strips about 6 inches from each other. They're in sections of 2 ascending toward the main screen. Each vertical strip section is built as one unit to reduce unwanted movement. This way each section is uniform and perfectly parallel. I was just explaining that the 12 and 15 foot piece are not just going to dangle wherever. We're going to actually tie those together with a piece of wood, just like the middle section. How the middle section we had separated by 6 inches, because I want these to also be separated by 6 inches. So like I said, so we'll just pretend they're the same level at the top. So the 12 and 15 foot are going to be like this, and if I just hang them, you just never know what they might look like, but I'll just tie them off with a 6-inch piece of wood going across the top and maybe the bottom, just so that they're perfectly spaced apart from each other. So just a small detail that will make a difference once everything is up and hanging. I'm busting in to talk about our sponsor for today's video. All the backgrounds that you've seen throughout this entire video, whether we're working on the design or other than the office, we did have the office playing one day when we were working in here. So other than that, everything you see on this screen is from our friends at Church Motion Graphics. They are sponsoring this video today. Every month, Church Motion Graphics releases eye-catching screen visuals that are specifically designed to look great in churches. I know right now at the release of this video, we're not actually in our churches, but they have so many other tools that you can use for social media, your sermons, for your videos, for your live streams that go up. So there's a lot of resources that Church Motion Graphics has, especially in a time like this. Now, if you go with their premium subscription, not only will you receive new packs of worship backgrounds every month, but you also gain access to thousands of motion backgrounds, sermon and announcement slides, social media graphics, and so much more. So go visit churchmotiongraphics.com, enter the code WLH at checkout, and you'll be able to get 15 bucks off your first premium subscription for the year. So it's great stuff. Even when we're not actually having church in the building, they make incredible. So go check them out. You need to check them out. Go check them out. Back to the video. For the middle section of this design, this is what we went with. I wanted just to go on that classic vertical strip, but instead of even space strips, I decided to space them out about 6 inches apart, or exactly 6 inches apart. Right here anyway, so they'll be about 6.5 inches from strip to strip. You can see a little bit that I decided instead of all being the same strip, like I said, I wanted it 6 inches apart, and also a 5 foot and then a 4 foot section, just to kind of give it that like really neat offset look. And I mirrored this where the 4 foot is on the inside of both sides. Same thing being on the other side, and then the middle section right here, they're both 5 feet going straight down. I simply used 1x2s. We know that's not a true 1x2 when you're going somewhere like Lowe's. It's like ends up being like a half by like 1.5. But you call them 1x2s. I just use cheap pine and just use brad nails to put those together. We did the 13-foot 9-inch across, top and bottom. We did the edge pieces first, so that way I could, start getting some structure on this thing. Then we did the center. So I just simply took a measuring tape, measured the center, measured the length, divided by 2, got the center, put these there. And then I did the same thing once I had my edge pieces here. I then measured this section here, divided that by 2, got the center, and then spaced the 6 inches apart there. And now you have this super lightweight, I wouldn't say super lightweight, but lightweight structure that we can hang, or some churches might decide that they need to like actually bolt this to the wall, but it's all one structure rather than all these being individual hanging pieces. And this allows it to be a little straighter when you get your LED strips on there, instead of things having the ability to kind of wave in and out or like side to side. We want them to be a little more rigid. And I didn't use screws, like I said, I use these brad nails. I'm telling you, it is the best way to go, just with like a little air nail gun, brad nail gun. So. Attaching the LED tape is super easy. However, the tape on the back of the actual strip itself is terrible. It will not stick for long-term use. So what I do is I use a glue, a Gorilla Clear glue or a liquid nail. Both of these, there's other types of glue you can use. I like to use something that takes a little while to set into place, at least anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to actually set. So that way it gives you long enough time to make any corrections if it's not perfectly straight. Regardless of whatever kind of glue you decide to use, I actually like to dot the glue along a perfectly dead straight marked line using a laser level. And they're pretty easy to pick up at hardware stores and things like that. But this line allows you to dot the glue. If the glue is not a glue that dries immediately, then you have time to lay your LED strip down, and it's just perfectly straight, and then it sticks to the wood or whatever you decide to stick it to for a little while, and until the glue dries. And then once the glue dries, it's set in place. You don't have to worry about it, and that's peace of mind is what I like. If I didn't glue it, I'm telling you, these things would fall. This tape is terrible. So glue it, make it look good. So the other part of the design that you're seeing, I call the hourglass, because it's shaped like an hourglass. Simple as that. This part of the design is a callback from our last design that we did for 2019. We did a video about that as well if you want to check that out if you haven't already. I'll put the link below. But we use a white yarn interwoven with like a metallic ribbon. and it gives it that extra sparkle, say if a light hits it or something like that. You can kind of see it in some of the images. Attaching the yarn is incredibly simple. We start by setting a 1/2-inch screw an inch apart, giving it a more dense look than our previous design. All you have to do is tie the yarn to one nail and take it to another nail across the design, or whatever pattern that you want to do. It doesn't have to look like this. But for the hourglass shape, we started at one corner and stretched the yarn to the opposite corner, wrapping it around the nail and repeating this pattern until we reach the other side. Hit it with a couple LED bars, one at the top and one at the bottom, and it just pops. It looks incredible. I decided not to use LED strips on these because I didn't want to see an LED strip on the side. If I put it on the bottom and top only, it would only be a 3-foot section of LED, and it just wasn't bright enough. We tested it out, it just wasn't bright enough. Our hourglass dimension is 16 foot tall by 3 foot wide, built almost identical to those other panels that we used in the other video. And the only difference is that we had to brace it in the middle, and you can't really tell for the most part. You can see it when the light is bright enough. The only other thing we did to make this design better than it was last year was install 8-foot trusses on each side of the stage and fly our movers. I've been wanting to do that at my church forever. It just has a much more professional look. And I love movers on the ground, but I'm telling you, we did that way too long. We did it long enough. I want the things in the air because it just has a classic look. I love it. This gives it a totally different look from last year, even though we did use a lot of yarn and LED strips like we did. And that's pretty much it. This design is super simple. You can make this happen in your church. The one thing I like to talk about at the end of these videos is to get your people involved. There are some incredible people at your church. Use your people, get to know people that have all kinds of skill, and you utilize your people to help you with this. You can't do this by yourself, and you don't want to do this by yourself. It's so much more fun with other people helping you. And all the people that you see in this video are on my team. They either play an instrument, sing, or work production, something. All these people are incredible, but they wouldn't be here, they wouldn't be a part of this if I didn't ask. And so I encourage you to ask your people to be involved and to utilize their skill and their talents, ask their advice, ask their opinions about this kind of stuff, because this wouldn't have happened if I didn't ask people what they thought. It does take time, it takes time to plan. I think the best thing to do is to put everything on paper, all your materials, make a budget, and then start buying the stuff, start making the stuff, testing the LED strips out with your lighting software. So there's a lot of little things that you need to do to kind of get you to the point of install. Build every piece of the design before install day. Don't try to build it and install it on the same day. It won't happen. And then also be creative. Utilize your building, your space, your whatever to make something like this work. Of course, you don't have to make what I'm showing here. I want this video to inspire you to make something amazing. And I know you can, and I know you will. And share it with me. I want to see these designs. I'm over on Instagram, Worship Leader Hangout. We're also on Facebook, Worship Leader Hangout. We're right here on YouTube, Worship Leader Hangout. And you can check us out at worshipleaderhangout.com as well. We got some stuff over there. It's really just kind of our, like, where everything lands, you know, how most websites are. But I want to see these designs, so tag me in these designs, whatever, send them to me, I don't care. I want to see you make something, whether it's like this or it's just something that's inspired by what we do here. I want to see it, and I want to just be excited with you and congratulate you. And I don't know, I love this kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's like a totally separate thing from what we normally do as worship leaders, and I really enjoy it. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video and giving me your time. Have a wonderful week, and remember, great worship leaders are always learning. Have a great day. See ya.
Very end. What the heck? Why?
So why do you need those taped?